Once you've done this, go out and get it. Something else, something very different, something kind of weird about me. Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Shloka and I'm so excited to be on here. It's been a while since I posted on YouTube, but this year I plan on being super active, posting every week, and I have so much to share with you guys and so many exciting things for you guys to come along with me. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow along on my journey. I thought I would kick off 2023 on YouTube with 23 facts about me that perhaps you wouldn't already know. I would say that even everyone who follows me on Instagram probably doesn't know all these things. Number one, my name, Shloka, it means the verses of the Ramayana or any holy book in Hinduism. I'm originally from India. I was born and brought up in Mumbai, even though I still call it Bombay, but I've lived in London for the last 10 years. And I don't know where we're gonna be headed next, so let's see. One of my proudest personal achievements, not career related, is that I taught myself how to cook. My mother was convinced for some reason that if I was let into the kitchen, that just simply my presence would burn the kitchen down. So when I moved to university, I didn't know how to make anything, and I taught myself to cook. Definitely with major help from my husband because he's practically a master chef. My two biggest fears in life are heights and spiders. My husband is not convinced that I'm afraid of spiders because I have no problem disposing of them on my own when I need to, but I am very afraid of them. My first ever dream job when I was a kid was to be a film director, and I actually attempted to pursue that through my university experience, and I landed up changing courses. But I do think that if I was given the opportunity to go direct a Netflix special tomorrow, I would not pass it up. Speaking of films, my go-to comfort film is The Princess Diaries. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. My first pet, or rather my first pets before the wonderful Alfie, who's made himself very comfortable as my cushion, were actually two turtles that I had. I know every line to most Harry Potter movies. If you watch them with me and you watch me while you watch the movie, you'll see me mouthing along to them. I was almost named something else, something very different. I was almost named Priyanka. No offense to anyone whose name is Priyanka, but I do not think that I look or I don't think that name suits me at all. My ultimate dream brand to work with is Christian Dior. They've been my favorite brand for such a long time. I have such an affinity towards it that it would be such a dream to work with them. You can probably see their coffee table book. It's right there. Something kind of weird about me, well, there's many other weird things about me, but something spooky is that I sometimes dream about things before they actually happen. My most recent one was I dreamt that we were at a wedding and someone really close to us had a physical accident while a specific song was playing. And sure enough, a few months later, that's exactly what happened. One of my hobbies is dancing. I used to actually train with a professional dance troupe when I was younger, and I still love to dance. In fact, as I record this video, in the background on my computer, there is a Zoom dance practice for my cousin's wedding. So it's something I love to do. I love to read, but I specifically love to read murder mystery novels. If it's not a murder mystery novel or some sort of empowering self-help book, I probably am not gonna read it. I hate the sound of whispering. I don't know what it is about people whispering that drives me insane. That, and you know when people drink tea and they slurp and they go, that drives me absolutely insane. My guilty pleasure is that I love to remove blackheads and ingrown hairs. The longer, the better. If you're watching this and you think that's weird, I guarantee that there's someone in your life who also really enjoys the same thing. Alfie's disgusted by me and he has now left. I am a full-time content creator, and I also co-founded an agency with my husband, and we run a social media agency together. I give really good advice. That's something I'm really proud of, that so many of my friends come to me for advice, and I take great pride in the fact that I give quite good advice. I have never been able to watch the Titanic in its totality because for some reason, every time I do, I fall asleep. So I'm not able to weigh in on any of the debates of whether Jack would have fit on the piece of wood or not because I don't have all the information. I love to host. I love to host dinner parties, tea party, coffee party, whatever kind of party you want to have. I'm there and I love to host. I'm quite competitive. I've played team sports my whole life, but I've always been very competitive, especially with games. I always win, and I don't think that has anything to do with me being an only child. I'm one of those people who can't have a proper conversation before their first cup of coffee, so I love my coffee, but I absolutely despise avocados. Like, I hate them so much. I think they're such a waste of everything. And my word for the year is abundance. One of my most asked questions at the start of every year on Instagram is about vision boarding, whether I do it, if I do it, how do I do it, and just all things about sort of manifesting that vision that you have for the year. So I thought that I would take this time to share with you guys how I do it, some success that I've had with it, and a few of my tips on how you can do it too. Vision boarding is something that I love to do. I have always had this desire to like take magazines and books and cut them up and put things together that inspire me. Growing up, I always had a bulletin board. Now I've gone virtual. But there is something really therapeutic about doing it physically if you have the time and if that's something that you like, but you can also do it digitally. I'm gonna share with you my vision board from last year. So I had a couple of different goals here. We hadn't had our wedding yet. That was like a really big and important milestone for me and my husband, and I had a big chunk of things dedicated to that. I didn't realize it at the time, but one of my biggest images in the wedding section, the love section, was actually the location that we landed up having our reception in Rome. And it didn't look too far off from this, so it did indeed happen. I wanted to also work on having a different venture that wasn't just content creating, and that is indeed what landed up happening with my husband. We started our agency at the end of last year. But basically there were all these different things that I wanted to manifest, and I was really happy to see them all come to life. The thing you should know about vision boarding is that it's not the kind of thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna put all these images together and now it's all gonna come true. I think that these images serve as a reminder to you as to what your goals are, because every image that you pick is so personal. But it is by no means the kind of thing where like, okay, I've done this and that's it. I just sit back and wait for things to happen. No, it's a reminder so that you keep working towards your goal, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. I like to start by having a blank page, and before I look for images, I divide it into sections of focus points, let's call them. So whether that's family, relationships, job, home, travel, whatever it is that you want to focus on. I like to write down goals for each one. Then the next thing that you do, if you're doing this physically or even if you're doing this virtually, however you're choosing to do this, is to find images. Remember that the images don't have to be literal. The images can be things that speak to you. They can be something that is more abstract, but when you look at it, you're like, yes, that is my goal. I totally understand this image, and there's some sort of vibe there, and I get it. So you pick that image, you put it in the section that it needs to go in, surrounded by other images that all represent your overarching goal and whatever it is that you want to achieve in the different areas of your life. I like to throw in words. So like, for example, I said my word for the year is abundance. So I would try and include that in whatever form that I can, whether that's with a quote or an image, maybe some other words as well, just to remind myself of what it is that I want to achieve, not just outwardly, but also inwardly. You can set this as your desktop background, your computer background, your phone background, but basically place it somewhere that's easy for you to look at it and constantly remind yourself on a subconscious level what it is that you're working towards, and to give you that little extra push when you need it. Remember what I said, once you've done this, go out and get it. I don't believe in sitting back and waiting for things to happen. So you have to make it happen. And this is just your reminder to help you do that. And I think that vision boards are a great way to help you really clarify exactly what it is that you're working towards. So I hope that this helps. And I'd be really interested to see your vision boards if you feel like sharing, or if you want to share some of your goals with me, leave me a comment below, or you can come find me on Instagram at Shloka, and I would love to see what you guys have come up with. Anything else that you guys would like to see from me this year, please comment below and stay tuned. There's lots of exciting things coming up. We already have our first trip of the year next week, so stay tuned for that. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with you guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I can't wait to chat with you guys soon.